Hello and namaste to all the online participants of online course on social defense, which is organized by National Institute of Social Defense. And today we are going to talk about the concept, meaning, nature, elements and fields of social defense. So, before we begin, let me introduce myself first. I am Dr. Archana Dasi, Professor in Department of Social Work, Jamia Millia University, New Delhi. So, let us know what is this social defense all about, and let us understand the concept. Social defense is originally understood as the protection of society against crimes through a systematically organized and coherent action by both the government and civil society. It was believed for centuries that imposing severe punishment on the offender could control crime. Crime can be understood vis-a-vis the social environment in which it operates, since crime is largely a byproduct of its own environment. Therefore, true social defense lies in doing away the system of corporal punishment by adopting sound correctional measures and ensuring the prevention of crime, with the ultimate objective of reconciliation, rehabilitation and reintegration of offenders into society. The concept of social defense has thus acquired a new meaning by adopting humane treatment to an offender as a tool of reformation rather than resorting to harsh, coercive measures or retributive penalty. Well, next part which we are going to talk about is the meaning of social defense. The main motto of social defense is crime-free society, which is achieved through systematic, well-planned and organized efforts and programs by both government and the civil society. Social defense aims to protect society against crime, which normally occurs against vulnerable sections including elderly population, drug addicts, children, beggars and other vulnerable sections of the society. It is believed that the systematically organized and coherent action, which includes preventive and rehabilitative measures, controls the crime. It is further elaborated that preventive measures are undertaken through continuous awareness, training and sensitization programs and campaigns to stakeholders. Rehabilitative measures for both victims and offenders play a vital role in social defense domain, and these measures largely include counseling, skill development training, meditation and yoga, educational facilities and programs. The above combined efforts are to be made available by the government as well as civil society. Basically, there are three major elements in social defense which we have to keep in mind, and these are protecting the vulnerable in society against crimes, systematically organized and coherent actions and efforts, and the implementation through government and civil society. Now, we will come to our next topic, which is on nature of social defense. In the process of social change, certain categories of population who failed to cope with these rapid changes have started lagging behind the rest of the society due to their vulnerability. These categories include persons with disabilities, social deviants who come in conflict with law, which is juvenile delinquents, drug addicts, alcoholics, sex workers, beggars, convicted offenders, etc., and other disadvantaged sections of the society, which is elderly, the destitute, deserted, street children, etc. All these categories need special attention of the government because of their vulnerabilities and the disabilities they suffer from and other issues. Therefore, the concept is not only constantly evolving, but is also huge in its scope and perspective. Planning for social defense therefore requires a holistic approach in an organized, structured, coordinated and coherent manner. Now, After having this basic understanding about the concept and the meaning and nature, now it is important to understand what are the fields of social defense. Well, this is one of the most important topics for us. Let's discuss very briefly about it. Each area one by one. So, the first area which we are going to talk about is the old age care. In India, population of elderly is on the rise. According to Census 2011, 8.6% of the total population belongs to elderly people, and it has estimated that it is going to touch 12.4% during 2022, and it will be 20% of the total population by 2050. So, one can understand how huge number is going to be of the senior citizens in our country. Hence, the well-being of the elderly with safe, healthy and protective life will become great concern and challenge to the entire nation. Traditionally, the elderly used to occupy a place of respect and position of high regard in society, and their care and protection was ingrained in our value system. However, with the advent of modernization, urbanization, industrialization, globalization and overall changing value systems in society, including the breakdown of the joint family systems, the elderly population is facing an adverse situation. Economically, physically and psychologically, they are suffering like anything. These issues and problems facing the elderly population have become challenging to the entire nation, since these problems involve overall safety concerns and security concerns for the elderly. From here we move on to our second area of social defense, and that is drug abuse. According to survey conducted by NCPCR in 135 cities and 27 states during 2013 among children, it was found tobacco and alcohol consumption was more than 66%, cannabis 35%, inhalants 35%, pharmaceutical opioids 18%, sedatives and heroin both 8%, and use of injected drug was 13%. You can understand how humongous is the problem of drug abuse among our children and youth. The problem of drug abuse is gradually assuming alarming proportions, particularly among the younger generation who are in the most productive age. There are various factors associated with the problem of drug abuse. Socio-cultural transition, psychological factors, economic development, globalization and liberalization are considered to be the prime factors contributing to the increasing problems of drug abuse in the country. As the problem of alcoholism, drug addiction are linked with crime and other deviant risk behaviors, efforts have been made to adopt an integrated approach to curb the increasing magnitude of the problems with effective coordination among the concerned ministries. And this is something which is really bringing a change in the whole system. And the coordination among the various ministries has really started bringing change. The third area of social defense is beggary. According to the unpublished data of Census 2001, there were 7.03 lakh beggars and vagrants, out of which 6.31 lakhs are in non-worker category. As per unpublished data of Census 1991, beggars and vagrants in the non-worker category was 5.44 lakhs. The above data reveal that beggar population was increased by 16%. Poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, social and other forms of disability, wide rural-urban divide in economic development, etc. So, beggary is life coping mechanism for some genuine abandoned vulnerable, but it is posing as a real challenge to law and order issue due to its changing trend. we have seen that there are organized beggars which are considered to be important factor for further growth of beggary population in view of its lucrative nature. Now, moving on from beggary to the next area is child protection. Now, socially, culturally and economically marginalized children in any given society, they experience abuse and exploitation of all kinds. They suffer hunger, homelessness, abuses, deficient health care and limited opportunities for basic education and health, and are subjected to work in harmful conditions. These deprive them of their childhood and the very potential to grow up as worthy citizens. However, it is their basic right to survive, develop and participate in all decisions which are impacting their lives. The JJ Act 2015 was amended, and there was an attempt to amend the law relating to juveniles in conflict with law and the children who are in need of care and protection and treatment by catering to their developmental needs, and by adopting a child-friendly approach in the adjudication and disposal of matters in the best interest of the child and for their ultimate rehabilitation through various institutions established under this enactment. Moving on from children, the next important area is transgender. Transgender has recently been included as one of the important areas in social defense. In India, total population of transgender is around 4.88 lakh as per 2011 census. The Transgender Act 2019 defines transgender as a person whose gender does not match with the gender assigned to that person at birth and includes trans men or trans women, person with intersex variation, gender queer and person having such socio-cultural identities as Kinnar, Hijra, Aravani and Jogtas. The problems faced by transgender are discrimination, lack of educational facilities, unemployment, lack of shelter, lack of medical facilities, etc., HIV care and hygiene, depression, hormone pill abuse, tobacco and alcohol abuse, and problems related to marriage, property, electoral rights. There are other problems which are related to them, which are more into adoption and marriage, which is becoming one of the major concerns for the transgenders. Since transgender are prone to health risks and setbacks, they need to be provided proper medical facilities, including health insurance and clinics where free or subsidized treatment should be made available. The next and the last area for the social defense issues is trafficking. Trafficking is a form of abusive and irregular migration for commercial sex exploitation, drugs and illegal purposes. Trafficking in women and children for commercial sexual exploitation and other abusive purposes is rampant in India, and its toll on human suffering is evident in urban and rural pockets throughout the country. Trafficking has reached alarming proportions in the country, though it is difficult to estimate the actual figure since corruption, violence and other factors are involved in its practice. The earlier penological approach held imprisonment, that is custodial measures, to be only way to curb the crime. But the modern penological approach has ushered in new forms of sentencing whereby the needs of the community are balanced with the best interest of the accused. Compensation, release on admonition, probation, imposition of fines, community services are a few such techniques used. The term probation is derived from the Latin word probare, which means to test or to prove. It is a treatment device developed as a non-custodial alternative which is used by the magistracy where guilt is established, but it is considered that imposing of a prison sentence would do no good. Importance of studying the course is that one can successfully attempt in controlling crime against the vulnerable, ensure the equitable and peaceful society, systematic and planned service towards the vulnerable, importance of collaborative efforts of both government and civil society. This particular course is important not only to specific target groups such as police, prison, panchayat, social work educators, professional social workers, etc., but also to everyone and all stakeholders who wish to bring peaceful society, poverty free society, and equitable society. Dear participants, it is sure that this course will throw light on new avenues, strategies, and interventions in the field of social defense and enable the functionaries and stakeholders to effectively discharge their duties in social defense domain.